That's our biggest problem. Because what we need at this moment, looking back at our history, we are at a moment that we need a Franklin Roosevelt as president. And what we have in the presidency today has no resemblance to that whatsoever. Franklin Roosevelt as president saved the United States by returning the United States to its Constitution. The problem that Roosevelt faced was the problem of the British Empire. Now, the British Empire is not really a monarchy. It's a slime mold. That is, it is a collection, and this has been the case since the beginning of the British Empire in 1763 with the Treaty of Paris, Peace of Paris, that an international financier cartel, largely of Anglo-Dutch denomination, but essentially bankers in the Venetian tradition, a slime mold. They kill each other by night and they gang up together against the human race in the morning. In 1763, this slime mold, this international financial gang, took over the Britain at a time that Britain had been the victor in a war it orchestrated called the 7 Years' War. What Britain had done, which is typical liberal practice, is to defeat all its rivals on the continent of Europe by inducing them to make war against each other. So Britain sat back while Russia and France and Prussia and other countries fought each other and came down in ruins with a peace at Paris, in which the British came in and collected the remains. It was the British East India Company who collected the remains. The British monarchy is not the controlling force inside the British Empire. The controlling force is a slime mold called the Anglo-Dutch liberal establishment, financial establishment. They run the empire. The present system, as long as we try to operate according to the rules of an international monetary system, the United States is now hopelessly doomed. You cannot reform this system. You cannot improve it. It cannot work. There's no way of escaping catastrophe globally under this system. None. So the point is, what you can do under the authority of government, you can create a new system. In our case, in our republic, the system you would create would be a return to the principles of the Constitution as typified in example by the precedent of what Franklin Roosevelt did with Harry Hopkins and others to save the United States from the worst depression we'd had up to that time. So what is required here, leadership means, very simply, things that the average guy out there can't understand. The average person on the state level, the state legislatures, in similar institutions, are sane. The people in the Congress are insane from the top down. That doesn't mean they're all insane. It means they're intimidated by Harry Reid, they're intimidated by Pelosi, and so forth and so on. Therefore, they will sabotage anything which is not pleasing to the bankers, to the financiers. And now it's to the international financiers, centered on the City of London. The center of the world economy today is the City of London. It's not the British monarchy as such. The British monarchy is an institution of the system. But the British monarchy is not the controller of the system. The controller of the system is a Venetian-style system of private financier interests, sort of like a slime mold, which assembles and asserts its collective power and uses the instruments of government under its compulsion to cause societies to submit to its will. That's an empire. That was the empire, the medieval empire of the Crusaders and the Venetians, the usurers. That's been the British Empire since February of 1763, when we broke from the British on that issue. All we have to do is reestablish the principle of sovereign government. The sovereign government is the highest authority on this planet, and especially in our own country. It is not beyond us to discover the new approach to be taken to solve an unprecedented problem. This is not new to humanity to do that. It just requires a mustering of the will and insight needed to do it. There's nothing wrong with it. The idea that we need a stimulation package is wrong. That's where the problem lies. Everybody is talking about stimulation, like this is a sex clinic or something. This is not the problem. The problem is the fact that stimulation is the worst thing you can do. That is stimulation of the present system. We had that with a curve. It's being stimulated. The rate of inflation is soaring. You want more of that? Do you realize what the rate of inflation is now underlying? Do you realize what it means relative to your income personally? How do you match your income with the rate of stimulation? The rate of inflation. Look at the price of bread. Look at the price of Al Gore. He took food out of your diet as a carbon control measure. No, so the point is, forget stimulation. This economy is not going to recover by stimulation. This recovery will recover only by massive surgery to remove the present kind of stimulation and introduce an altogether different one. What we have to do is forget monetary stimulation. We have to have a governmental control of the creation of credit. We must have a banking system, a regular banking system, which cooperates with government in processing that credit into places where it's needed. New firms, infrastructure, so forth. So the creation of credit by government, not financial stimulation. What we have to do is bring this thing under control and take down the present financial monetary system. Without changing some of the labels. And how do you do that? You do that by an orderly bankruptcy. What do you do with an ordinary bankruptcy? You put the entity into bankruptcy. And the first thing you do, you say, we're going to send this to the butcher shop or revive it. We don't stimulate a sick economy. We don't stimulate the sale of cocaine. We don't stimulate the spread of AIDS. We don't stimulate these things. What we do is we concentrate on creating and supporting things which are necessary to cause the physical recovery of the economy. The problem with this thinking is people are worshippers of money. The Mammonites. Strict worshippers of money. And money is nothing. Money, except as government makes it more than that, is either a system of usury, of piracy, or it's an instrument of government, controlled by government. So stimulation is not the answer. What you have to do is create a new monetary system without shutting down the monetary process. How do you do that? You take the core of this financial problem. The core is the homeowners are losing their homes. You cannot have them thrown out of their homes. They are being thrown out not because of any fault of their own, but the conditions imposed upon them, with the complicity of government, and with the complicity of powerful financial institutions which say, we are more important than the people. People like Bloomberg, anybody who's got an $11 billion income cannot have done it honestly. So therefore what you do is you say, the money is, under the United States law, money is the property of the U.S. government.